Welcome to the Shield Your Business from Chaos podcast, where there's no building, no people, no third-party suppliers, and no systems all combined to create Chaos the Dragon, which is battled by King Phoenix and his shield.
Hi, I'm Roswitha Firth, and this is the Kingsbridge BCP podcast. Kingsbridge BCP has been in business since 1983 and provides business continuity and consulting services to companies large and small in all industries. Skip Williams, the co-founder, has developed over 200 business continuity plans and was the BCI Consultant of the Year in 2014. Welcome to today's episode. I hope your day is going well. I'll start with a little about my background and experience. I have over 20 years experience in business continuity and disaster recovery planning, serving multinationals in the information technology, financial, and energy sectors, 2 of them in the Fortune list. Today, I want to do something a little different. I'm going to do a solo episode, and I hope you find it interesting. I'm looking forward to today. I am a big believer in combining best practices with practical guidelines to provide right-sized solutions with the goal of improving company resiliency and lowering a client's risk profile. My business continuity passion has always been pandemic planning. Ever since I first learned about my family's history in the 1968 pandemic, I studied the history of the 1918 pandemic because that also fascinated me. And I've helped companies develop pandemic plans going back to SARS and H5N1. I love art, history, and travel. Before we dive in, I'd like to thank Kingsbridge BCP for the opportunity to co-host this podcast series. We are in our 2nd year. If you haven't already checked us out, we have a lot of great content available from a long list of very experienced business continuity, disaster, and risk professionals. So like and subscribe to our podcast series. Whether you find us on Apple Podcasts, our YouTube channel, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you. Hope you enjoy. So I've been looking forward to doing a solo podcast for some time. Today, I'm going to share with you my thoughts on different ways we enter the business continuity space. Let me begin by saying that it's great that degree programs exist that for the most part weren't widely available years ago when the majority of business continuity practitioners might have transitioned from an IT position of some sort. Nevertheless, I still see the majority of business continuity folks either seeking out or falling into the field from an adjacent area. While some people may see that a degree in business continuity management or emergency management, for example, is necessary for success in your career path, my position is those are great if you're able to pursue them. But not everyone is. For example, you might have just been tasked by your leader to come up with a business continuity plan. Your boss wants you to figure it out. You can hire somebody to help. You need to get it done in 3-6 months if you're lucky. In this situation, you don't exactly have time to go get a degree. You probably don't have time to pursue certification at this point, although down the road, that's a great thing if you're able to do it. Or you might be looking at an interesting opportunity on a job board and want to jump on it. No time to get a degree in BCM here either. And again, pursuing certification if you're doing these things is generally always a good thing. But you do not have to have a degree in business continuity in this field to find meaningful work or success in the business continuity space. So your experience in any of the adjacent or not so adjacent fields can bring valuable insight and skills to your business continuity role, whether that's a current role or a desired one. So how do we come to be business continuity practitioners? Some of the pathways to business continuity include sort of the natural transitions from risk management, emergency management, crisis management, data security, or cyber risk, for example. Other less obvious pathways can include coming from a more general IT analyst position. Project management is common, facilities, or supply chain. Some people even fall into business continuity via other things going back to an art history degree. It happens. Whether you're already here in business continuity or want to enter the field, you probably have more experience to draw on than you realize. Maybe you were your department's designated point of contact for the annual tabletop exercise, and you thought, well, that was really actually kind of fun, and I want to do recovery planning, or I want to help come up with strategies to recover. And these alternative paths to business continuity can bring a lot of value to the table for both you and your employer or potential employer. Don't be afraid to sell those things. It's really a funny thing that business continuity people tend to fall into, and it often happens mid-career. So at that point, you're bringing a lot of different experiences to the table, and there's frequently much more than what might appear at first glance that's relevant to business continuity. You really can bring those things more than what you might just see sort of on your resume. So whatever it is that you've been doing for the past 2, 5, 10, even 15 years of your professional life, don't feel like this isn't something that you can pursue. Business continuity can be tremendously rewarding. Granted, sometimes it's incredibly frustrating, especially if you're underfunded. For example, you may not have the executive support that you feel like you should have to really build a successful business continuity management program. Nonetheless, there are so many experiences that we can all draw from that can help us become better business continuity practitioners. This is where the practical comes in, not just the good practice guidelines, for example. Whether you're coming from data security and just have an eye for detail that helps make sure that interdependencies are not overlooked, which, I mean, that takes a really good eye for detail to be successful at that. So don't undersell some of the things that you may be able to bring to the table. Any kind of analyst job can be really good experience for becoming a good business continuity professional. That attention to detail, the ability to analyze data, those things are all really tremendously valuable. For example, if you're doing a business impact analysis, there's a lot of analysis that goes into that, as the name would suggest. So anytime you come from a position where you're crunching numbers, you're looking at data, you're extrapolating information from lots of different sources, that's key to being successful in business continuity. Or you might be coming at it from a broader risk management perspective and decide that you want to focus on something more specific, and that's how you decide to get into business continuity. I'm not exaggerating when I say that some people come to business continuity via a very circuitous path that might have started with an art history degree. That is exactly my story. And it's been a wonderful journey to do business continuity for the past 20 plus years. And I literally did start out that way, not just the art history degree, but also small business ownership. And from there, I landed in the position, surprisingly or unsurprisingly, in data security. And the story behind that is that a friend suggested an opportunity. And I was looking for a transition, but I had no experience in data security. At that point, I don't really think I knew even what that entailed. But when I interviewed for the position, the director of security who interviewed me said, I can teach you everything you need to know about data security. What I can't teach is attention to detail. And from the work that I did at the time, if I was any good at it, which I was, he could tell that I was a very detail-oriented person. And from that interview and my experience in an art gallery, he could tell that I had that attention to detail that a good data security person needed. And he did absolutely teach me everything I needed to know to be successful in that department. And from that, I was recruited to a newly formed business continuity and disaster recovery group because of the success that I had in improving the quality of the data security program and specifically solving some really serious data integrity issues at the company that I worked for. So it really is possible to enter the business continuity space virtually anywhere if you have that desire. And if you're already here, are you missing out on utilizing knowledge that you have that you can bring to the table that perhaps you felt you left behind when you changed from another department, another position, another industry? You might have come from accounting and thought, well, that's what I did then. This is what I do now because this is your new role. We like to move on. We like to learn new things, and that's wonderful. But those other experiences that we left behind will make you a better business continuity practitioner. So don't overlook the things that you've previously done, even if they may seem tremendously unrelated. And these are the things that I encourage all of us to look at and ask ourselves when we look at that next promotion or the next job, when we're scrolling through job boards, thinking about what we might want to do 5 years from now, whether that's an internal job or something you find on LinkedIn, doesn't matter. How we utilize those things to better ourselves, better our professional knowledge, improve the value that we bring to the companies that we serve, and increase the value that we bring to our own career path and our long-term future. So hopefully today you found some of this thought-provoking and interesting, and it'll lead you to have a conversation with yourself about what you might want to be doing in the future, and whether that includes business continuity or one of those adjacent fields I mentioned. If you enjoyed today's episode, I encourage you to listen specifically to the episode on mentoring in the BCP space that I did with James Mitchell, and the episode with Angela Mestra, where she and I discussed career paths in business continuity. Thanks for listening today. Let me know what you think about today's episode. I'm Roswitha Mose Firth on LinkedIn, and I look forward to having a conversation. Thanks.